On March 16, 1995, Briton Terry Cottle shot himself in the bathroom of his apartment. A suicide bomber with the words, "Help me, I'm dying," died right in the arms of his wife Cheryl. Healthy and well-developed, Cottle shot himself in the head, but his body remained unharmed. In order not to waste such goodness, doctors decided to donate the deceased's organs. The widow agreed. Cottle's 33-year-old heart was transplanted into 57-year-old Sonny Graham. The patient recovered and wrote a letter of gratitude to Cheryl. In 1996, they met and Graham felt an incredible attraction to the widow. In 2001, the sweet couple began living together, and in 2004, they got married. But in 2008, the poor heart stopped beating forever. Sonny, for unknown reasons, also shot himself. In 1976, hospital orderly Alan Showery from Chicago entered the apartment of colleague Teresita Bassa without permission. Probably, the guy wanted to clean out the young lady's home, but when he saw the mistress of the house, Alan had to stab her and burn her so that the woman would not tell anything. A year later, Remy Chua, another medical colleague, began to see Teresita's corpse wandering the hospital corridors. It wouldn't be so bad if this ghost was just wandering around. So it moved into poor Remy, began to control her like a puppet, speak in Teresita's voice, and told the cops about everything that had happened. The police, the relatives of the deceased, and Remy's family were shocked by what was happening. But the killer was still split, and they put him behind bars. It's best not to visit Enfield, Illinois. A tripod 1.5 meters tall, slippery and hairy monster with short arms lives there. On the evening of April 25, 1973, it attacked little Greg Garrett, though it only took his sneakers, then knocked on Henry McDaniel's house. The man was shocked by the sight. Therefore, out of fear, he fired 3 bullets into the unexpected guest. The monster covered 25 meters of McDaniel's yard in 3 leaps and disappeared. Sheriff's deputies also encountered the Enfield monster several times, but no one managed to solve it. Some kind of mysticism. Brian Bethel is a respected journalist who has built a successful career over a long period of time. Therefore, he does not descend to the level of urban legends. But in the 1990s, the master of the pen started a blog in which he published a strange story. One evening, Brian was sitting in his car parked in a movie theater parking lot. Several 10 to 12-year-old children approached him. The journalist lowered the window, started looking for $1 for the kids, and even exchanged a few words with them. The children complained that they could not enter the cinema without an invitation, that they were cold, and could he invite them into the car. And then Brian saw, in the eyes of his interlocutors there was no white at all, only rabble. The poor guy instantly closed the window in fear and pressed the gas pedal all the way. His story is far from the only story about strange black-eyed people. Doris Bither is not the nicest resident of Culver City, California. She drinks constantly and abuses her sons. The woman also knows how to summon spirits. In the late 1970s, several researchers decided to verify the authenticity of her stories for themselves. It all ended with the young lady using spells in her home to actually summon a green silhouette of a man who scared everyone half to death. And one daredevil even lost consciousness. In 1982, based on Biter's stories, the horror film The Entity was made. In 2000, London car enthusiast Barry Hepburn was shot by a neighbor. The victim's legs were paralyzed. Hepburn had to trade in cars and pedals for a wheelchair. Barry constantly demanded that doctors amputate his numb limbs but did not receive consent. The story ended with the fact that in 2011, a daredevil called an ambulance to his home. Upon arrival, rescuers witnessed a terrible picture. A 65-year-old man had almost completely sawed off his right leg. Import is sure. The legendary John Kramer from Saw would clearly appreciate it. 40-year-old Zimbabwean Guy Wilton shared a story that he will remember for the rest of his life. One night in his distant childhood, for some unknown reason he woke up. The kid got bored and ran to the kitchen, and then I heard the housekeeper screaming from his room. The nanny came in to see if little Gaia was all right, but instead of a sleeping boy, I saw a huge crocodile under the baby's bed. We strongly recommend that you close all doors and windows tightly, so as not to find uninvited guests under your mattress. 18-year-old Carissa Glenn has moved into a new apartment in Cornwall. Over time she began to have nightmares, and began to feel as if she was not alone in the room. And then the girl began to dream about a suicide who hanged himself in the same apartment. It's a dream. Before her, there lived a certain man who said goodbye to life just like that. The cheerful Carissa was becoming more and more depressed by the nightmares. The story ended with sadness. On April 14, 2008, the girl hanged herself there with her own scarf.